seconds. 4 minutes until showtime. 3 minutes until showtime. 2 minutes until showtime. 1 minute until showtime. 'Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Insurrection, obstruction, indictments, civilly liable for sexual abuse. The one man responsible for all that could be sitting in a prison cell on election day and still be elected commander-in-chief for these United States. That man is beholden to Putin, weakened NATO the last time around, and is currently tying himself to wealthy Saudi oil money. He enriched himself when government stayed at his properties, He campaigned on wanting to use government to go after his political rivals and wants to expand executive power. If Donald Trump is reelected, our nation is lost. So let's roll up our sleeves, get to work, and tell the MAGA folks no more before it's too late. That's 914-803-4131. You can also join us at the YouTube chat, youtube.com/liberaldanradio. Come to the live and join us in that chat there. If you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, come on over to YouTube. It's more fun over here. If you're listening after the live show, you could always leave your comments on the show thread at liberaldan.com, over here on youtube.com/liberaldanradio, or you can always comment on facebook.com/liberaldanradio or at Liberal Dan Radio on Twitter as well. Funny comments already in the chat over here on YouTube, making me chuckle. Shouts out to Easy E Network, Elizabeth, Jeff, Jolie, Aaron, everybody who's already in the chat. Thank y'all. We got 7 viewers and 4 likes. Make sure to go ahead and like the video, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe already. And if you best way to help the show is to help us get to the goal of 1,000 subscribers is to go ahead and also engage with videos when we're not live. Go comment, like, share, etc. Spread the word far and wide about the Liberal Dan Radio program. And if you want to help the show even more, you can become a Liberal Dan Radio patron, patreon.com/liberaldan or patreon.liberaldan.com. Either way will get you there. Or you can help at one time with the buymeacoffee.com/liberaldanradio, or go to the liberaldan.com website and click the Buy Me a Cider button, because I like cider better than coffee. Or you can just do the Venmo image right over here, Liberal Dan at Venmo, and just do the friends and family option since you're not buying anything. So, lots of stuff to talk about today. What's going on, Tim? Good to see you. We did do a special, easy for me to say, Saturday night stream covering the elections that were going on Saturday. We had a mostly bad night here in Louisiana. We did have one good example. Mandy Landry, a friend of the show, who's been on the show several times, not only won her re-election, but she destroyed Madison O'Malley. I mean, you know, Ed Carlson also lost. He came in third, but I'm not worried. I wasn't necessarily thinking that he was going to be doing all that well. I assumed he was going to be coming in third place simply because of the fact that he was not getting much of the attention of anybody, because it was basically a fight between Mandy Landry and Madison O'Malley. But it wasn't that much of a fight. In fact, I had to go petty when I brought up the fact that Madison O'Malley was only able to, after I think she spent, of the money that she spent so far, it looks like she only spent maybe about $60-something thousand of the $135,000 that was lent to her, plus whatever campaign contributions she received, which might just then go back and pay back her loans to herself. Of the money that she loaned to her, again, she only spent, I think she spent like $26 a vote, and she only managed to win one precinct. And even that is not necessarily true, because in Louisiana, when you vote early, that, I think, if I'm correct in saying that you vote early, those votes go into the absentee ballot column and don't go into the column of the precinct that you're from. And Mandy Landry beat Madison O'Malley, I think 2-1 on the absentee ballot. So it's more than likely that if you
were able to distribute all of the absentee ballots into the precincts from where the voters came from, Mandy Landry probably won every single precinct. So, having a little bit of caffeine, energy drink. If you want to learn more about that, listen to my Nerdy Dan stream. Anyway, but it was good to see Mandy Landry do so well. Unfortunately, Britt Gandolfi did not do as well. She lost her race. And unfortunately for the state of Louisiana, and we'll get into that a little bit later into more detail, or over the course of the show, we'll continue to talk about that. Jeff Landry, the worst possible candidate in the election for governor, won the governor's election. It's terrible. It's really terrible. And he has a supermajority in both houses as well. And that can only be rests on the heads of the Louisiana Democratic Party leadership. Let's see. Maybe it would have helped if we would have stopped counting the votes at noon. Stop counting! Yeah, we should have stopped counting back when we got Jeff Landry down to under 50%. Stop counting the votes. There's no reason to count the votes. It's too late. Stop counting. But before we get into all that big mess, there's been one thing I've been wanting to talk about, but between the Louisiana elections and the mess between Israel and Hamas, I've had to put the topic on the back burner. And that is Cenk Younger announced that he wants to run for president. He announced his candidacy for president as a Democrat. Problem: Cenk Younger is a naturalized citizen. He was born in Turkey. He immigrated to the United States and became a naturalized citizen, i.e., he is not a natural-born citizen. He is not eligible to be president. Now, do I think that that's an antiquated idea? Sure. But in order to get rid of that antiquated idea, you need a constitutional amendment, and that's unlikely to pass anytime in the near future. Now, Cenk Younger believes that he could challenge it in court and that the courts will rule in his favor because the courts have overturned the meanings of words before as well. Well, sorry, Cenk, but guess what? You would require an activist court to rule in your favor. And while we do have an activist conservative Supreme Court, they're not your friends. They are not going to rule in your favor on this issue. You are tilting at windmills, sir. This is a very quixotic attempt, and the idea that you really think that you could run for president and that it would be at all successful and that you wouldn't be laughed out of court for this attempt just proves that the Young Turks have jumped the shark and that we need better progressives on the radio. People need to flee the Young Turks in droves at this point because they've just gone full-on crazy. In Spaceballs terms, they've gone to plaid, and there's nothing really more you can say anymore about them because this is just buffoonery to the highest level. Period. There's nothing more you can say about it. It's dumb. You would think that he wouldn't be this stupid, but he is. Yeah, you are stupid if you think that you can run for president and if you think that the courts are going to rule in your favor. It is stupid of you for thinking this, Cenk Younger. You are stupid for thinking this. You should know better, but plainly you don't. It's dumb. Stop it. You're embarrassing yourself and your show and everyone else involved with your show. Anyway. Or the, actually, I like it should be the TYJ, the Young Jerks, is what I've been calling that. What's going on, Wes? Good to see you. Anybody else jump in as I see? Cenk is also a moron. Self-absorbed moron, yes. Yes. I do not understand it at all. I do not understand why anybody else didn't just like say, "Are you stupid?" But he addressed it. Like, he tweeted about it. He addresses like, yeah, I know that what the law says. I'm a naturalized citizen. I think the courts will rule that naturalized mean natural born. No, it doesn't. It's exactly not the same. It's the exact opposite. What's up, Jackie? Good to see you. Hey, Nick Rich, what's going on? There's two things. You can either be a naturalized citizen or a natural born citizen. That's your two options. If you're not one, you're the other. If you're a citizen, you're either a citizen by birth or you're not a citizen by birth. That's it. That's the way it is. There's no other way about it. That's the only two options that you have, and you're the one that's not eligible. Now, his first name is Ass, his last name is Hole. Pretty much. I mean, look, I would have no problem with a constitutional amendment that would say, like, maybe if instead of saying you have to be 35 years old and a natural born citizen, I would have no problem with, let's say, saying you have to be a citizen for 35 years. Okay. That would be either you're born a citizen and you can be 35 years old, or maybe you were naturalized at 18 and then you could do it at 53. Okay. Like, I don't necessarily have a big issue with the idea that somebody who is naturalized is some. I don't think that just because somebody is naturalized means they're somehow questionable when it comes to being president. I don't think that being naturalized somehow makes you less better than a natural born citizen. I think it's elitist to suggest that somebody who is a natural born citizen is somehow a better citizen than somebody who is naturalized. It's silly. But it's the law, and you have to change the law if you want to run as a naturalized citizen. So, Elizabeth, let's not. I mean, it's never going to change at this point. There's no way that the way that it requires, the way we would need to change the rules, there's no way that it would change. The only way that it would change would be if conservatives had a candidate that they wanted to run that they wouldn't be able to run. Then you would be able to convince the conservatives to change it, because you can't change it without the conservative states getting behind it. So, hey Maria, what's going on? Good to see you. Anyway, so that's my little rant on Cenk Younger. We also have issues going on as well, going on with Israel and Hamas. Hamas has said that they are willing, at first it was reported that they are willing to unconditionally let go foreign nationals that they have currently held hostage, and now that's changed to they're willing to let them go as long as certain conditions are met to allow them to, but it's not necessarily saying that they want certain conditions to be met for them, but that I guess there has to be a particular way for them to do so. I don't know exactly what it means, but Hamas is saying that they're willing to now let go non-Israeli foreigners who they inadvertently, I guess, took hostage. I'll believe it when I see it. I'm not going to hold my breath on this idea because Hamas can't be trusted. Hamas is just, a terrorist organization who has proven themselves time and time again to not be trustworthy whatsoever. It was interesting on the news today to see a whole bunch of people over in Israel, a bunch of Israelis coming out, and Israelis this weekend did not go to eat. They did not go dancing. They did not go to bars. They did not go clubbing, but they did go protest. And a lot of the Israelis are protesting and demanding the ouster or resignation of Benjamin Netanyahu, which is good to see. It's good to see the Israelis trying to get because they're blaming him for his failure to protect them. And they're blaming him. A lot of them are blaming him for his supporting Hamas over the Palestinian Authority, for his actions for the settlements, everything that I've been saying, for him, basically egging on and helping to radicalize Palestinians so that they're more likely to join Hamas. They are holding his feet to the fire. There are even conservative members of other parties and even members of Likud, his own party, that are basically saying that he needs to go. There's a conservative, another conservative, a member of another political party. He's conservative, and he's a former military commander who is even, I forget his name, but he's even calling for Netanyahu to resign because of all of the problems that Netanyahu has. And that's even ignoring all of the problems pertaining to his attempts to turn the Israeli government into a more authoritarian government. It's even ignoring the changes that he wanted to make to the Supreme Court to protect his corrupt ass when it came to the charges that he's currently facing. Anywho. Let's see. Hillary, Wes, you're correct that the world would have been a better place had Hillary Clinton won in 2016. Problem is that it wasn't even the liberals. It was extreme leftists. It was the 12% of Bernie Sanders voters in the primaries who switched from Bernie to Trump in the general election. Had those voters voted for Jill Stein instead of Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton would have won, which makes for an interesting argument, because normally you say, well, voting for the third parties is helping out the other person, helping out the worst of the worst. But in this situation, it just so happened that had they instead voted for Jill Stein instead of voting for Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton would have won. But they didn't vote for Jill Stein. They flipped from Bernie to Donald, which doesn't make any sense whatsoever. I don't understand how anybody goes to vote for one for the other. I mean, except if you're a moron and you say, oh, I'm a populist, I want a populist president, so I'm going to go vote for somebody who I feel is a populist and supports the people in the primaries, and then I'm going to go vote for the faux populist in the general election. Because Donald Trump's not a populist. He might say populist things, but he's not a populist. He's a corporatist. Easy E, please don't use the T word in the chat. I don't like people using mental disabilities as a slur. It is not cool by me. Just FYI, Not angry at you for it, but it's just not a... Aaron West, my dad flipped from Bernie to Trump in 2016. I don't understand that mindset. I mean, I guess I understand if you're a chaos agent. If you're just all about the chaos, then sure. But that's not... I don't think these people were necessarily all about the chaos, unless they just wanted to burn the Democratic Party down in particular. But those people, didn't understand... they were crying about Bernie Sanders's, losses in the primaries, and didn't understand that Bernie Sanders lost mostly because of unforced errors that he committed himself by ignoring the southern states during the primaries. So, anywho. I think Easy E Network had said something about Sarah Huckabee Sanders. He wanted me to bring that up. Apparently, Sarah Huckabee Sanders' office is under fire for buying a $19,000 lectern, and then a whistleblower has accused her office of covering up the spending. Wow. Why must you buy a $19,000 lectern? The price tag has raised serious questions from state lawmakers of both parties. Sanders is pushing hard to restrict what public records would be available under the state's Freedom of Information Act, including her own travel expenses. This whole thing has started from and keeps growing from the governor's failure to be transparent about just spending in general. Through another quest, let's see. I was just scrolling through those credit card receipts, stumbled upon Beckett Evans' purchase for $19,000 and change. I didn't know what it was. Eventually, he learned the request is for a lectern. Sounds like an insane price for a podium. To be clear, a podium is an object you stand on, and a lectern is an object you stand behind. According to the invoice, his lectern was custom, 39 inches tall, wood with blue accents, plus custom traveling case, just over 19 grand. Beckett Events, the company who sells the invoice, was operated by Virginia Beckett, a former colleague of Sanders back when Sanders was his press secretary for Donald Trump. Campbell's post raised a lot of questions. So basically, she was funneling government money to a colleague, which is what conservatives do. This is what conservatives do. They take government money and funnel it to themselves or to their friends. This is why conservatives love charter schools, because they can use it to take government money, and instead of using it to educate children, they can use it to funnel the money for their friends and for themselves. This is why Donald Trump claimed to not take a salary, but what did he do? He traveled every time government travel happened, and every time he could possibly do it, he made sure that everybody stayed at one of his resorts, even flying into a Scotland airport that could not quite handle the airplanes that were being flown, but they still landed there anyway. Why? Because he wanted them to stay at his Scotland resort so that government money could be spent at his resort and he could make money. Because that's what they do. See, this blah, blah, blah. Apparently, the state Republican Party wrote a check to cover the purchase, but that came only after Campbell requested a copy of the invoice. Records also indicate the state agency in charge of purchasing essentially told the governor's office this wouldn't be reimbursable. Campbell states that despite many political allies Sanders has in Arkansas, this doesn't seem to be going away. The governor has managed to find like this one issue and somehow transcend party politics in the state. So even like there was a beef about this, I think, locally in New Orleans with Mayor Cantrell, where she had put some things on where a lot of other not Congress people, a lot of other council people like would put personal stuff on their city credit cards and then reimburse the city for the personal expenses. She had flown first class on several things, and that she believed that they were covered, but that she could fly first class. And the ruling by the city, either the city attorney or by some other ethics ruling, said that she was not able to fly first class, so she then had to pay the difference from her own personal money to cover the difference between the cost of a business class or a coach class and the first class seat, and offset the difference. So this is not just necessarily things that part of it is something that politicians seem to do from both sides of the party. But I mean, I'm sure that the only reason that the Republican Party of Arkansas covered Huckabee Sanders's expenditure here is because she got caught with her hands in a cookie jar trying to make sure that trying to use government coffers to enrich herself and her friends. The check will be used because that's neither tax or wire fraud. A little bit older, a little bit wiser, a little less better looking. What? Okay, I guess I'm missing something. Is the volume slowing down for anyone else? I don't know. What do you mean? How does volume slow down? I don't understand what that means. Am I sounding like I'm talking more slowly? Sorry. Or is the edible kicking in? Jeff, is the edible kicking in right now? Nick Rich. I am me and you are me and we are all together. See, this is intentional fraud. Her daddy is the new Rush Limbaugh too. Of course he is. Now, Wes, don't call people cows. Just because we don't like her doesn't mean we have to insult her, how she looks. And again, just a reminder to everybody watching the show at the time, when we have disagreements, especially when we have disagreements in chat, just want to remind everybody to only address the argument being made and not the person making it. So don't insult the people making the arguments, only address the argument being made, because we don't want to have things avalanche into big messes. So anyway, so what else to talk about today before we get to the main topic of how Louisiana is in deep doo-doo. So I do want to make a couple of clips about this as well, so hopefully we don't have interruptions by the kiddos again. I missed Aaron's. I don't know. I missed Aaron's comment, or maybe we said at the same time about volume slowing down. It seems to be getting quieter. I haven't changed any volume settings. I don't know. Good to see you on the sunny side of the street as well, Agoff Twitler. Is E Network or call her and her dad Fuckabee? That's fair. I'll allow it. I'll allow Fuckabee. Because that's not necessarily insulting how they look. I mean, unless they're literally screwing a bee. So, anywho. One of the things about Jeff Landry winning this election, though, is that we are now finally going to get to see, as much as it's going to hurt the people of Louisiana, and this is going to hurt, in my opinion, the people of Louisiana, and it's not a good thing that it's going to hurt the people of Louisiana. This is going to suck for 4 years, in my opinion. But the one thing that we are going to be able to see now is we're going to get solid proof of just how bad it can be when the Republicans have full control of government. This is going to be a test case of just how bad things will be under full Republican control. There's no way for the Democrats to block anything. There's no way for the Democrats to have any power because there's super majorities in both houses and an extreme Republican in control. So we're going to have to suffer through these 4 years. But we are now going to be able to show the entire country and the entire world just how bad things will get under Republicans when they have full control. Just how bad the economy will be, just how poor the poor will get, just how bad civil rights will get, just how bad everything will go. How close we will get to Gilead in Louisiana. Again, it's going to suck, and I'm not going to like it, and I'm going to have lots of rants about it on the podcast. But we'll be able to show the world just how bad it is, and hopefully be a shining example of why nobody else should make this same mistake ever again. So perhaps that should be the, I guess, silver lining to this whole thing. If there's any silver lining here, it's that maybe the rest of the world will get to benefit from our misfortune. So I think I just lean more and more to the mic. I think as I'm trying to make my points, Wes, it's not that I'm necessarily slumping. It's that I'm just kind of feel like sometimes I need to lean more and more into the mic to make more of my point. I think that's what you're seeing. So I mean, Tim, I try to find the silver lining in everything. It's a really thin silver lining, and you really gotta want to see it. It's gonna hurt a lot of people while doing so. Texas and Florida should be instructive, but even in Texas, or even in Florida, I mean, you had an attempt. But see, here's the thing. For as bad as Abbott and DeSantis are, Landry's worse. And that's saying a lot. Landry is... You take the worst parts of Abbott and Trump and DeSantis, and you mush them all up, and you put them on steroids and crack and heroin and meth, and you get and you add a Cajun accent to it, and then you'll get Jeff Landry. And oh boy, it's going to be terrible, because it's going to be bad. Let me just tell you, Louisiana is that's the thing. Easy. That's one of the points, though. Louisiana often will talk about how it's an oil and gas state, but we overestimate the amount of revenue we get from oil and gas, especially as compared to Texas and Florida. Texas and Florida have a lot of money, so that even though they're horribly run, you still have the circumstance where they have a lot of money, and as such, they can kind of fake it to make it. And you also have a lot of big blue cities that could potentially anchor it in such a way so that the big blue cities can kind of be anchors of some sort of stability. Now, as much as the Republicans try and fight that crap, they try and fight it tooth and nail. And believe me, they do. But, I mean, you have big cities like Dallas and Houston, Orlando, Tampa Bay. You even have, I don't know if Miami's mayor, I think, might be a Republican. But then you've just had Jacksonville switch over and have a Democratic mayor. You have probably Austin in Texas, probably San Antonio as well. You have all these areas, large cities that even though Texas is this big Republican red stronghold, you still have blue islands that are kind of safe. In New Orleans is a blue area, but we're not big. We're only like 200,000-300,000 maybe. Like we don't have a lot. We don't anchor the state as much as we used to. Oh, my cat's coming in again. We don't have it. We don't have as much of an effect on the state as we used to, especially in this last election. That's one of the things I'm trying to find the information about voter turnout. I think we had like 38% turnout statewide in this last election, which sucks. And New Orleans might have been like 28%. I don't know. And one of the reasons that I'm positing that New Orleans turnout was less than other places. Hey, Rose. Congratulations. Y'all get cat butt. I'm surprised you're getting to see Rose in the first place, because this never happens. This never happens. You're getting to see a miracle right now. I'm shook. I'm absolutely shook. Jefferson Parish, as I talked about on Saturday night, Jefferson Parish had council races as well as the legislature and statewide races. Jefferson Parish is more conservative than Orleans. You have a chunk of Jefferson Parish that does consist of the 2nd Congressional District, which is the gerrymandered district for the single black congressional representative. St. Tammany Parish is much more conservative. They also had their parish president election take place that day. New Orleans did not have any councilmanic or any other real, except for maybe one judgeship that took place that day. So there was no real reason for other people to come out except for those other races. And the Louisiana Democratic Party was so inept because they were spending a lot of their energy needlessly focusing on the District 91 race, which was the Mandy Landry race, which was the safest race in the entire state, with no reason to target her because she didn't need to be targeted, except for the fact that they didn't like the fact that she, became independent for a couple months. So they spent all this time trying to unseat Mandy Landry, leaving other seats unaccounted for, and let Republicans run unopposed. And that's part of the reason why Landry won out in the jungle primary, which he shouldn't have done. But also, it's because we don't have Orleans Parish civil municipal elections at the same time as the statewide elections, you also end up not getting as much turnout as you maybe would have had they been at the same time, which is why one of the reasons I'm calling for the Orleans Parish elections to be moved to the same day as the statewide elections, and maybe that would bring up turnout, and maybe that would help out all of the statewide Democratic candidates. She only reason she might scratch is if I tried to pick her up, because while she's loving being petted right now, she is not a fan of being held. She will get scratched, but she does not enjoy getting picked up at all. So, but I am taking full advantage of my ability to pet my kitty, because my kitty never lets me scratch. She'll come back to try and get more, I guess. She is purring away. I don't know if you can hear it, but she is purring away. Let's see. I don't know if you'll be able to hear it. I think she moved away from the mic as I moved it closer to her. I guess she's done. I guess she's had enough scritches. Yes, Louisiana does need a new parliament. And that was one of the other videos I made Saturday night and uploaded, and it went live Sunday morning. One of the things was calling for New Orleans to have New Orleans municipal elections to take place at the same time as the statewide elections, and the other one was that the New Orleans or the Louisiana Democratic Party needs a top-down shift or top-down change in the party, which means eliminating Katie Bernhardt from the as executive director. That she just needs to go. She needs to go. She's done. She needs to be done. And we need to get rid of everybody who supported her. Now, the way that it works is that for every state representative seat, so I'm in my state representative, or my state representative district is District 102. There are 2 seats, one man, one woman. So we're still keeping on and holding on to antiquated gender roles. But so you have one man and one woman position open. And the guy that is in my seat his name is Joe Broussard, and he apparently did support Katie Bernhardt. But according to somebody that I know, there is somebody else already planning to run against him. So if there's somebody already planning to run against him, I see no reason to work against that person if that person is going to go ahead and try and win it. So I might not run for that. Maybe I'll run for the Orleans Parish Democratic Executive Committee, because that also needs a change, because the Orleans Parish Democratic Executive Committee also endorsed Madison O'Malley against Mandy Landry. So OpDec clearly needs to be revamped as well, because it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Thank you, Elizabeth. Oh, hurry back if you can. If you're not, good to see you again. And thank you, Elizabeth, for all the wonderful things you said last week. I really appreciate you as well. So I've been on that rant, and I've been also been looking at. I looked at. I was wrong about when the supplemental campaign finance reports would have to be filed. Supplemental campaign finance reports would have to be filed, like the 48-hour ones. Like, because if you have anything that takes place within like the final 10 days before the election in Louisiana, like, you have to file a 48-hour report. So if somebody makes a contribution to you that's above a certain threshold, you have to file a report. So, like, I was wondering how many contributions would be made, or how many expenditures would be made by Madison O'Malley, or to Madison O'Malley for contributions. How many of those would be made at the very last minute that wouldn't have to be reported until after the election? I thought it was 48 hours, like real time. It's 48 hours business hours. So business days. So anything that was donated on, I guess, either today or Friday or Saturday would have to be reported by, I guess anything Thursday would have to be reported by today. Anything Friday or Saturday would have to be reported by tomorrow. So I was able to find one contribution, one $2,500 contribution to Madison O'Malley from some lawyer who works on Poydras Street downtown. I don't even remember the name off the top of my head. But when I looked at the contributions that he made in 2019, he contributed to Mandy Landry. And then in 2023, he didn't contribute to Mandy Landry. He contributed to Madison O'Malley. And I was like, so I messaged Mandy Landry. I'm like, what did you do to this guy? She was like, what are you talking about? Oh, because he contributed to her? I'm like, yeah, he contributed to you in 19 and her to 2023. Why did you make him mad? What did you do to make him mad? Just joking around with her. And she was like, he's a backer of Cedric Richmond, who used to be the representative in the 2nd Congressional District. He then retired. He then left to go work for the Biden administration. I don't think he's currently working for the Biden administration anymore. But apparently, here's the problem. Cedric Richmond was one of the other people behind Katie Bernhardt taking power in the Louisiana Democratic Party. So it's not just her being terrible, it's him being terrible. So he is, I guess, pulling that string and supporting who, I guess, the person who donated to Mandy Landry in 2019, who now gave a max contribution to Madison O'Malley in 2023, is basically being told who to support by Cedric Richmond. And, I had a good shot. I was basically like, look, you didn't need the money, apparently. So, good riddance to him, I guess. So, it's easy now. You are in a red state that voted for Trump twice, second time over 18.5%. You're still ice skating uphill. Yes, but we also had a Democratic governor for the last 8 years. A smart party would have fielded a good candidate that would have been able to make a runoff. A smart party would have been able to have forced a runoff, and then B, would have been able to potentially have won the runoff by getting out the vote. So, but we have one of the problems that, as I talked about on Saturday, is that the top Democratic candidate was a black man, and the head of the Louisiana Democratic Party does not feel like a black man would have any chance winning statewide, and can't be imaginative in thinking as to how one might get a black candidate to win statewide. Like, getting out the black vote might work, especially in a low turnout election like this. Like, this would have been the election that a black candidate could have won, because had turnout been low in the rest of the state, but you gotten out the New Orleans vote, you could have won. you could have made history and gotten a good black candidate into office. But no, you had to spend more time trying to kick Mandy Landry out of her seat than working on trying to get out the black vote. But we already saw Katie Bernhardt was too busy trying to, early on in the last time around with the Senate elections, when Gary Chambers Jr. was running, she screwed him over twice. Also, Devontae Lewis, when he was running for Public Service Commissioner, they did what they needed to do to try and secure the endorsement of the Louisiana Democratic Party. And when she didn't like that they did because she had changed the rules to try and make it harder for them to win the endorsement, because she doesn't think that black people can win statewide. So she wanted to help other people, because there was another white candidate who was running for the Senate that she wanted to help out because she's racist, in my opinion. And so she changed the rules to make it harder for Gary Chambers Jr. and Devontae Lewis to get those endorsements. They did the work, and they did what they needed to do, and they got the votes to get the endorsement. So what did she do? She changed the rules yet again during the meeting. She got them to suspend the rules and to just go ahead and change them on the fly so that she could have everybody get endorsed instead of just endorsing one person, because she didn't get her way. So she was going to basically take her ball and go home, sort of. I don't know if that's the greatest analogy, but still. So this is somebody who has worked against black Democratic candidates for years now. Hell, she worked against the Democratic candidate. She supported a Republican against Louisiana's governor. For all intents and purposes, she went against the rules of the Democratic committee, and she should have never been considered. She should have never been considered to be chair of the party. But for some reason, I don't know if she knows where the bodies are buried or whatever, but she was able to convince enough people to put her in charge. I don't know. I see, I don't necessarily know that Edwards was necessarily popular, but it was just that he was running against people who were not. The first time Edwards ran, he ran against Vitter, who had his prostitute issue. The second time Vitter ran, he ran against this guy named Rasponi, who was a businessman who, during the only debate that they had, he looked like a deer in headlights. It was like Trump without any ability to speak. I mean, you look at Donald. If you put Donald Trump and Rasponi next to each other, like, Rasponi made Trump look like a Rhodes Scholar genius. This is how bad Rasponi was. Like, I almost felt bad for the guy. I was watching the debate, and it was just like, oh, this is just, he's just crushing him. Oh, it's just terrible. And even then, the election was like 51-49. Like, it was razor thin, but he still won in the runoff. But there was still a runoff. And I think even before the runoff, Rasponi had the lead, but he didn't get 50% plus one of the votes, so therefore there was a runoff. And then when it came down to it in the runoff, he was able to pull off the victory. So does that mean that Sean Wilson didn't have that great of a campaign either? He didn't have big names coming down and campaigning for him. Like, I didn't see, like, I don't know if Biden coming down to campaign for him would have helped. I don't know if I didn't really see John Bel Edwards coming in and campaigning for him. Like, I didn't see much of anything of any big name people campaigning for him. It wasn't that much of a great campaign, but the state was too busy trying to kick Mandy Landry out of her seat. And that was the ultimate problem. They were too busy trying to kick out Mandy. That just shows how petty the party was being. They were too concerned with this one vendetta to actually worry about winning the entire thing. She wanted her buddies in office. Well, not many of her. Well, if her buddies were Republicans, then she got her deal. She got her way. Biden would have helped in New Orleans, the black vote. You're probably right. But then again, right now, Biden has a whole lot of other mess to worry about. And so I don't know if he could have come down to campaign. I don't know why the black vote was so bad, especially for a black candidate. But maybe that says a little bit about the candidate. Maybe, but again, that says more about the party. The party should have done more voter engagement. The party should have done more get out the vote. But it all falls on the head of the party. The responsibility of the party chairman is to get out there and to have winning candidates and to get wins. We took a shellacking. Now there are still some runoffs going on. You still have the treasurer's race. You still have the Secretary of State's race. You still have the Attorney General's race, where of course, I'm sure people are anticipating that the Republicans are all going to win those races. And why wouldn't you? Because if the Louisiana Democratic Party can't run good elections in the primary, why do we think the general election is going to be any different? There's no reason for me to believe that we're going to get any different results under Katie Bernhardt in the general election than we would in the primaries. I feel sorry for Lizzie Cheek, who's running for Attorney General. I feel sorry for everybody else who's running. Gwen Collins Greenup, who's running for Secretary of State. All these people, I would love to have them on my show. I want to try and get them on my show. I don't give them any chance in hell of winning. I'll vote for them. I will get out and vote. I will encourage everybody else to get out and vote. But unless you have the party getting out there and pushing them and pushing a major get out to vote effort, it's not going to happen. And who's she going to do it? She's not going to do it for. She's not going to do it for a progressive. Cheek is a big progressive. It's one of the reasons I like Cheek, who's running for AG. She's not going to do it for Cheek. She's not going to do it for Gwen Collins Greenup, because again, we've seen now for a fact that Katie Bernhardt does not support black candidates running statewide, because she just won't do it. She won't support them. I wouldn't be surprised if Katie Bernhardt supports the Landry that's running for AG. Are you sure she's not just pulling a Gabbard or Justice and not going to switch parties and burn down the Democrats? I'm almost certain that she's a wolf in sheep's clothing. Like, there's no reason. Like, even when she was running to begin with, everybody was trying to sound the alarms. Everybody's like, she supported. I forget the guy's name off the top of my head. It was like we were trying to say. She supported a Republican against John Bel Edwards for governor in his first run. Why are we going to support her for head of the party? She has not proven herself to be a loyal Democrat. You need a loyal Democrat. Look. I have made the argument that one needs to, that it's more important to be loyal to the issues than specifically to be registered to the party. I would rather somebody who is loyal to issues than to party. I made that argument about Mandy Landry for her being gone for 2 months, that in reality, since she's supporting the issues and that she's more of a loyal Democrat than many of these other people who are Democrats who are supporting other things and just being pro-life and voting for pro-life things in the legislature. That being said, I forget when Edwin Edwards ran for Congress, but there was a good few years where I was registered no party. So if somebody threw my name up and said, hey, Dan, you should be executive director of the Louisiana Democratic Party, and somebody said, but Dan, you were not a registered Democrat for these amount of years, and I would say, well, I voted Democrats the entire time. I just was mad about the party for endorsing an unrepentant convicted felon who was one of the reasons for Louisiana's Democratic Party being downfall, and I was mad at the party for doing that, and I was mad at the party for endorsing a candidate who was going against the Affordable Care Act, and that was one of the issues planks he was running on, was to overturn the Affordable Care Act, one of the important things that our Democratic president put in place. I would say all those things if I really felt that I could have the position and I would be good in that position. I don't know if I'd be good in that position, but if I felt like I would be good in that position, that would be the argument that I would make. But I wouldn't begrudge the argument being made was that, well, you haven't been back in the party long enough to prove to us that you're a loyal Democrat because you went no party for a certain number of years. And I would be like, you know what? It's a fair argument. Wes, stop. Republicans say a lot of things about Kamala Harris because Republicans are sexist bigots who don't understand that a smart woman can accomplish good things without doing nefarious things. Now, I don't necessarily agree with all of the things that Vice President Harris did while she was AG of California. Don't get me wrong. I was very much against her being the Democratic nominee when she was running in 2020 because of a lot of the things that she did as AG. But bringing up the allegations about her and who she might have done things with just perpetuates the sexism that's pervasive in our society that I've discussed in my Unraveling Toxic Masculinity videos, where we've said, look, we have this thing where, women are suggested that they can't potentially do things, and the only way that they can get to the top is either by sleeping their way to the top or by doing other things, not because they are well qualified. I'm not going to argue she was a bad attorney. I just disagree with some of her decisions that she made. Like, even when I was talking about Meg Whitman, I don't like Meg Whitman at all. I think she's a horrible CEO when she was in charge of eBay. I think she let a lot of fraud go by unpunished because of the policies that they set forth in their trust and safety division during her tenure at eBay. That being said, I'm sure she had to walk a very tight line between, her being seen as, overly, bossy or whatever, as they would like to call women who are assertive, and not being assertive enough in order to make sure that she could advance through the ranks to make it to the position that she was in. And she probably had to walk that tightrope much more carefully than any dude would have had to do so. So, if Kamala Harris was a white dude, nobody would have said crap. They probably would have cheered his ability to go perform sexual favors with somebody who was married. Oh, look, it's a Rose again, who almost clawed the hell out of my shoulder trying to get up on the back of my chair. Hello again. Hello again, my kitty. I am very surprised that you're giving me this one. It's because your mama's at a movie, huh? Your mama's at a movie, and that's why you are snuggling with me, because your mama's not home. Is that it? Is that it? You don't have snuggles with mama, so I'm the second best? I'm the next best thing? Yes. Every rose has its thorn, just like every night has its dawn, just like every cowboy sings a sad, sad song. Every rose has its thorn. That's what I've done in karaoke before. I don't believe in roses. There are far too many. Is that like the bird argument? Some people don't believe in birds. That birds are a myth. That birds are a conspiracy. Because of birds. I don't want your butt on my head. Thank you. that birds are a conspiracy by the government or something, that they're all listening to us and reporting back to the FBI or something. What's up, Robin? How's it going? Thank you for joining us. Anybody who's just copped into the channel, please remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you've not already done so, and always remember to, after the show's over, to go interact with other videos to make sure to get the get those get those YouTube algorithms going so that other people will see the videos and interact with them as well. Rose, hey Rose. Another rose. So is the fact that we're talking about a rose, we got a rose in here now? That's funny. Oh, now you're on this side now. Oh, you want to rub on the microphone that I'm not using because the other microphone's better? That's hilarious. Oh, you like that one now? Oh, you like it? You like that scratchy? You are so funny. See, if you came to me more often, you would get more scratches. But no, you don't come near me nearly enough. What's up, TV2? How's it going? This is the Liberal Dan Radio kitty time. It's kitty time with Liberal Dan Radio. I don't usually get this much kitty time. Let's see, is it enough? Or is it more? Let's see, I put my hand down if she's going to come back or she's going to jump off. Might have to shout something out a second. Had to make sure the kids were showered because they both have school again tomorrow. Oh, Rose got down. All right. I think we talked about a lot of what I wanted to talk about today already. Maybe it's time to do some more unraveling toxic masculinity again. Haven't done that in like 2 weeks because I've had guests and stuff. Let's pop down here and see about bring up some of these videos and we can see about maybe we need to do some of the Pearl ones because Pick Me Pearl is one that, you know, I haven't, maybe I just split all of hers off and that's why we haven't seen any of them yet, but yeah, the Pick Me Pearl ones are ooh-wee. She is an interesting one, let me tell you. What you doing, Rose? You playing with something? You got the door closed on you? The boys closed the door on her. What's up, Alarasia? How's it going? All right, so let us copy this into here. Let's mute the desktop a second so we don't hear it. Oh wait, before we do that, I forgot one thing. I forgot this. We have a bit to play. We have this week's Words of Redneck Wisdom. I totally forgot about Words of Redneck Wisdom. Without further ado,
and now, Words of Redneck Wisdom, brought to you by Liberal Dan Radio.
But don't it take the heat off the Biden crime family and the impeachment hearings and all the bad news for them, you know, coming out? I mean, nobody's talking about that now, right? I mean, All we're talking about now is the difference between Kevin McCarthy and Steve Scalise and Jim Jordan, which there's none. I'm going to have to disagree with you on Jim Jordan, the speaker, but that's the plan, Jeff. That's the plan, is to divide the Republican Party, run cover for the Biden administration, and get their agenda going with the next election here, with the terrorist attacks that's going to come here. Will it be lone wolf attacks, or will it be orchestrated like and organized like the attacks on Israel? If it does happen where it's orchestrated and organized like that, we will go to war with Iran over it. If it's just lone wolves here and there, we might not. But what's the 2024 election? Is that going to help the Biden or the Trump get in there any better in the national elections? When there's a war with Iran, of course it's going to be blamed on Joe Biden, but what's our country going to look like during the elections with the threat of terror here and war maybe with Iran and war breaking out globally? What's that going to look like? It's all part of the plan. This is a show we're watching. It's conveniently happened that they attacked Israel right when we was having a speakership fight. They're just, the Republicans don't want two houses of Congress. They don't want that. They want to keep being the underdog and playing big fighters on Fox. You know what I mean?
Talk a good. You're saying they want to talk a good game and not deliver. They want to be.
They don't want to be
all hat, no cattle.
They don't want to be implicated themselves on the COVID thing and that money laundering. They're just as guilty as the Democrats. They don't want Biden to go down, because if Biden goes down, they'll end up going down. They don't want it. They want this agenda 2030.
And this concludes Words of Redneck Wisdom, brought to you by Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right.
And there you go. I happened to listen to this morning and was like, this is a whole bunch of conspiracy theory that is perfect for Words of Redneck Wisdom. And here you go. So there you have it. The only thing that I mildly agree with closely is the, I mean, he kind of said that the Republicans don't want to have control of Congress. And I'm like, well, I don't necessarily agree with that. But I did say the other day that the Republicans just, it's not that they don't want to lead, they just are incapable of doing so. So they just have no ability to do so. So it comes off as them not wanting to. But I mean, this guy, there's no difference between these people. I mean, sure. I mean, I guess I kind of agree with that too. And when it comes down to it, there really is no difference between the three of them. They're all fighting over who can be the bigger a-hole. But I mean, just his voice in and of itself just makes him a clear front runner every week for Words of Redneck Wisdom, because, you know, woo doggy. I mean, that's just a woo Lord. I don't even think I can do that good of a redneck voice sometimes. Sometimes he's just out there, and he even disagrees with Jeff, where he doesn't even think that there's any difference between Steve Scalise and Jim Jordan and whatever. Of course, you know, Jeff loves Jim Jordan. Well, he loves Donald Trump too, which not surprising. If you love one person who supports, you know, the sexual assault of women, you I guess you support all people who supports the sexual assault of women. Wes, why was it so easy to get into Israel? What had happened was that there were some videos that they showed where one of the first things that they did is that they put like some balloons or some drones or something, and they dropped bombs on the towers to prevent Israel from being able to see their movements. That's how they were able to get in and get into that concert, was that they took out the ability of Israel to be able to see their movements, and then they moved. That's how they were able to get in. Because why? Probably because Iran gave Hamas intelligence, and Iran probably got that intelligence from Russia, and Russia probably got that intelligence from Donald Trump. And Donald Trump said that it's his ability, and Donald Trump probably got that intelligence from Israel. And Donald Trump says it was his prerogative to share that intelligence with whomever he wants to share it with. Rose, is Cenk Younger doing something else other than the running for president stupidity that I talked about earlier, or is it something else? Deep State, Illuminati, Tip of the Spear, FEMA cams, one more, and I have Bannon paranoia. Bingo. Well, I mean, you might have had the free space, Easy-E. I mean, it might have been on the diagonal, or it could have been all on the end line, or right across. You might have had the bingo right now. You only need 4 on a bingo. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit earlier, Rose. Just his short of the story. He's an idiot for thinking that he's going to be able to run for president. He thinks that the courts rule in his favor, and he's a dumbass for thinking that. Because, well, it's stupid. He's a naturalized citizen, means he's not a natural born citizen, and there's no way that the courts are going to rule in his favor, that he is in any way qualified to be president of these United States. All right, so without further ado, let's go ahead and see about pulling up some of these we're already starting this. We're starting this off strong. We're starting strong with the pick me pearl ones. Tawada, I wish I were old and could play bingo. You could play bingo when you're young. I played bingo when I was young. My kids will play bingo with us when we bring them on cruises. I mean, we have to buy the tickets, but you know, when I was on my honeymoon, I mean, depending on what you think old and young is, I don't know how old you are, but we were in our early 30s, and we won free cruise playing bingo on a cruise. So there you go. Anywho, so let's go ahead and switch to the alternate screen. That's not the correct one. That is the different one. So let's switch. That is, I don't know why it changes on me all the darn time. Oh, and then that's funny. Nope, that's the same one again. There we go. All right. And then we do that and that. So, anyway, so I'm going to start when I'm doing these stuff. And if you're listening on Blog Talk Radio, just remember that you won't be able to hear the audio from these clips. So therefore, if you want to follow along on with what's going on and what's being said as I do these clips, when I respond to these people who uphold toxic masculinity, it's best to come over to youtube.com/liberaldanradio, and that way you'll be able to hear what's going on. So anyway, so we're going to start the video, and when I finish the video, when I finish the response to the video, it's going to make it sound like I'm ending the video overall, but it's just I'm ending this response to the video, and as such, don't think that I'm ending the video. I'm ending the stream, just if you're new to the channel. So yes, she is talking about Russell Brand. So here we go. So before, I think I have a cat coming in again, potentially. So Welcome back to another one of my Unraveling Toxic Masculinity. And this series that I'm going to be creating is one dedicated to Pearl, or just pearly things, or somebody I call Pick Me Pearl. Somebody who loves to stand up for and fight for toxic masculinity right along with her so-called alpha male dude bros. And you'll see why with this first one, because holy crap, this one is a doozy. Let's go ahead and start over from the start, and you'll see why. As it reloads, just to make sure it starts from the beginning.
And you're telling me that a guy that has women throwing themselves at him 24/7 had to rape somebody? That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, I don't think.
Women coming out
I don't
all
think.
the
I don't think you
time.
can make the leap that that couldn't happen.
I didn't say it couldn't. I'd say it's very unlikely. Like, is Elon Musk, is he gonna rob a bank? Probably not. I think it's certainly less likely, but he could do it. And you're telling me.
Ah, there we go. There's the problem with the logic of the pick me pearls of the world, is that just because somebody has women throwing themselves at him, that doesn't mean that he could rape. Clearly, that is an illogical statement made by an illogical person. One has nothing to do with the other. People who feel entitled to whatever it is that they want to get are probably more likely to commit acts of sexual assault against other people. And so if he feels that he's entitled to whatever he can get, and somebody says no, he might feel upset and then want to force himself on that person. That is one thing that could be a possible explanation as to why Russell Brand might have forced himself into something. But then again, there's the other conversation, is the fact that this person that Russell Brand is accused of sexually assaulting is underage, and as such, it doesn't matter if the person wanted it or not, because the person is incapable of consenting in the first place. And as such, it's still rape regardless of if it's a yes or a no. So there you go. And the whole Elon Musk bank thing, well, there are rich people who steal money all the time. There are rich people who embezzle money. There are rich people who violate all sorts of rules when it comes to making money all the time. Why? Because they feel that they're entitled to it. They feel that just because they're rich and popular and powerful and successful, that they're able to get away with it. So why would somebody like Russell Brand do such a thing? Because he's rich and powerful and popular, and feels entitled and feels that he could probably get away with it too. So that's why he feels that he could get away with such a thing, most likely. That's why your argument, Pick Me Pearl, is horrible. And I didn't end it with a, what do you think, like and subscribe or whatever, but you know. Anyway, not being a creepy jerk is not too hard, exactly. How many times do you have to turn down ready sex? I don't know. I'm not sure what to do. Let's see. Oh, Wes, come on. You're getting a timeout for that one. I'm sorry. You're getting a timeout for the darker ones coming. That's just ridiculous. Come on, Wes. You know better than that. Anywho, so let's go to the... So we've got the first one down. Let's go ahead and do another response to the Pick Me Pearl, because we're gonna make the Pick Me Pearl playlist today on top of the other one. So I don't know which one these are. So we're just gonna be hitting these shorts over and over and over just to hit a couple of them, because she does some doozies, and we need to hit some of these because they haven't we haven't gotten to any of the Pearl stuff in the other videos. So let's see.
Men date.
All right. So this one is apparently called Men Dating Single Mothers and the Consequences of It. So here's another short from Pick Me Pearl. Let's see what pearls of wisdom she has to share with us today.
Men dating single mothers comes with a bunch of problems.
Oh, yeah.
As a sister, I would never want my brother to date a mother with a child.
Why is that, Pearl?
I I really think that once you have a kid, you've kind of made your bed. You should lie in it.
Why? I mean, there's all sorts of reasons why one might have a kid. I mean, these people are coming from a conservative point of view, and, you know, often they're coming from a conservative point of view, and somehow they're now going to be shaming people into having kids. I mean, it's ridiculous, but let's continue.
If you get lucky and find a husband, that's great, but you're kind of donezo. Like, honestly, I really don't think you should make a child with a man and not marry him.
What if so if the guy happens to be an abuser, or what happens if you were planning on doing it and maybe the guy was, in the military and he died, and now you want to be able to, have another, a family with somebody else. You're gonna blame the woman for having a spouse in the military who died. I mean, I don't think she thinks these things through all the way.
And I think you should never leave if you have a kid with someone.
Never leave. Never. Doesn't matter what happens in the situation. The person could beat you, abuse you, whatever. Pearl says never leave. Abuse is apparently not a thing in Pearl's world. So, I mean, this is why I call this unraveling toxic masculinity. She is just enforcing archaic ideas that pervaded society, that we have worked as a society to get rid of. It used to be that somebody in such a situation with an abusive spouse would not be able to leave that spouse because she, as the wife, felt that they wouldn't be able to go anywhere because there were no options for them. And she is trying to push us back to that time. It's bizarre. It's ridiculous. This is the type of mentality that we have to fight, and it's just baffling to me why a woman would do such a thing. Well, it also baffles me why women would vote for Republicans also, because they're constantly voting against their best interests as well. But here you have a woman who is fighting to shame single mothers, because that's what these alpha dude male bros do, because they would never get into a relationship and want to be a insta dad. And then B, she's going to tell somebody if they were in a relationship with a guy and they had a kid, never leave. That's some toxic bullshittery. Apparently, Robin, you are done after having a kid. I don't know if she's an incel or if she's or if she just is pandering to the incels who subscribe to her. One of my theories is that she's trying to play up to the she's trying to get herself one of the high ups in one of the Andrew Tate brothers, or the guy from Fresh and Fit, or one of the other folks who are one of the popular dudes out there, trying to try out so that she could be one of their picks, i.e. that's why I call her Pick Me Pearl, because she wants to be picked by one of them, even though they'll never pick her, because while I'm not the one who's going to say that people should be judged ultimately by their beauty standards, and by the people can be looked at by their whole package. The Andrew Tates of the world, the whatever podcast, the Fresh and Fit folks of the world are going to look at her, and they might applaud her for what she says, but they're going to laugh at her behind her back, because they're going to say there's no way I would date this woman, because she's already too old for them, already far too old for them, because we've seen in the previous videos what they've said about these people, about women, and what women they want to date and what women they don't want to date. So she's clearly surpassed that age as to the age that they want to date. But B, I don't think, even if she was younger, I don't think she would be pretty enough for them either. Even though, I mean, she's not ugly. I don't think she's ugly, but I don't think she's hot for their standards. I don't think that she she would live up to what their unreasonable standards are to begin with. So let's see. Let's go ahead and mute that. We will go to the next stupid Pearl short. Pearl destroys woke woman. So wait. So this one is called Pearl destroys woke woman. Let's see what.
If my son came home from school one day and said to me, "Look, Mum, I'll be honest with you, I think I'm gay," I would take it on, and I'd be open.
What if your son came home and said, "I think I'm black"?
Well, I mean, obviously, I'd have to sit him down and be like.
So you don't think if you thought he was the opposite gender, you might need to sit him down and tell him
that he's well, that's what I said. I mean, I would listen to him, sit him down, and have a conversation with him. But this.
Well, first of all, the woman said, "I think I'm gay," meaning I think I'm attracted to people of the same gender, not I think that I'm trans. And so then she said, what about I think I'm black? What about I think I'm a different gender? She didn't even mention trans. She mentioned a sexual attraction. She didn't mention whether or not the person felt they were trans or not. So she's jumping all over the place and bringing up red herrings.
This all comes down to the way that you raise your children.
But I'm saying, but you said they have their own mind, so why doesn't he make up his own decision? Why would you have to sit him down?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Because you said they have.
Well, I mean, you would have a conversation with the person, sit them down and talk to them because they're your children, and you want to have a conversation with them because they trusted you enough to have that conversation with you. I doubt Pearl will be in a situation to ever have children. I don't know who would ever would marry Pearl, but if Pearl was ever in a situation to have children, I would hope that you would have a situation with your kids that they would trust you enough. But I doubt that Pearl's children would ever trust her enough to ever trust her with anything that they ever would ever feel the need to talk to her about, because she would be too judgy.
Have their own mind.
Yeah, as in they're making their own decision, but I can still have an input and I can still talk with them about it.
So if he wanted to change his gender, you'd let him?
No, of course not. If my son came home.
Well, I mean, and there's here's the problem with that, is that nobody is allowing children to have gender reassignment surgery. There are rules that take place around that, and all of these places, the clinics that do gender reassignment surgery, say that you have to be over 18 and you have to have been on hormones for at least a year, and there are other requirements that are put into play. So Pearl is lying about the situation that would happen. So if somebody wanted to have like gender reassignment surgery, it's not going to happen with a child. This is a big fear scare tactic that these people like to use to try and, make people afraid of the trans folk. When in reality, it doesn't happen with kids. Yeah, a kid might maybe be put on puberty blockers if it's determined by the parents and the kid and the doctor that that's the right thing to do. And that's the thing, the hypocrisy of conservative-minded folks. They always want the decisions to be left up to the parents, except for when they don't like that decision. Then they want to control what the parents and the doctors can decide what's best for the patient, i.e. the kid. So, but again, as Nimbus Yosh, the host most with the smooth sounds of the Percy podcast, says, hypocrisy is a conservative prerequisite. So let's go on with the next video. Doing a bunch of shorts. She's looking for love in all the wrong places, as opposed to Leia in Star Wars, who was looking for love in Alderaan places. So this next one is Fat Simp is Too Naive. Well, I don't even know what that means, but we're going to see what it means.
He's great. He's a great kid.
Good. Does that mean I want to... He's a great kid. He's so sweet. When girls say that, does that usually result in the men getting laid? Guys, no.
Oh, for me, right? For me. Woo! Woo!
Oh, he got a date with her and his parents.
Well, first of all, she's body shaming. Now, I mean, if he's the one who's going around saying, saying, hey, I'm a fat guy, like, I'll do fat man rants, I mean, it's fine. But, she is being a fat shamer, and we could have a long conversation about somebody being overweight, being able or not being able to get dates. We'll talk about that when the video's over, but let's continue. But apparently this guy did have a date with the individual that she's watching. So she's watching a video, now I'm watching a video of her watching a video. This is getting very meta.
I think he's a great kid.
Good. Does that mean I want to? He's a great kid. He's so sweet. When girls say that, does that usually result in the men getting laid? Guys, no.
Oh, for me, right? For me. Woo, woo.
Oh, he got a date with her and his parents.
I think he's a great.
Oh, that was it. The date was in the parents' basement. Okay, so that was all the video was, just that. Very exciting. Anyway, so Pick Me Pearl is mocking this guy for being overweight because apparently overweight people can't get dates. Overweight people can't date attractive people. Overweight people can't do anything. Well, obviously, as you've seen on Liberal Dan Radio, Talk from the Left, That's Right, I have an entire series of videos called Fat Man Rants, and one of the reasons, that I do the video series Fat Man Rants is because I got tired of people coming to my videos and being like, instead of trying to debate me on the facts, they'd be like, oh, you're fat. Like, okay, thank you for telling me that I'm fat. I have mirrors, clearly I understand that I'm overweight. I see myself every day. Thank you very much for that. But the idea that somebody being overweight prevents them from dating people is absurd. Like, I was bigger than this kid, and I was dating a lot of people. Let's put it that way. Back when I was single, I was larger than this guy, and I was dating a lot of people successfully. We'll just leave it at that. Because not everybody holds your ideals as to what society, as to the general rules of society and what they should believe. And it's not just looks that get you. Now, he did seem a little goofy, and he did seem a little bit, perhaps socially inept, and perhaps that also would preclude him from getting dates, and that's another thing to talk about. Perhaps I'm a little bit more socially adept than the young chap was, but if you have confidence in yourself and you're willing to go out there and talk to people and be funny and especially be funny, you can charm the pants off of some people, literally. So, but again, she is supporting the toxic idea that men have to look a certain way in order for them to be able to be successful in dating. And I'm living proof that you could have a beautiful wife and a wonderful family while being a larger sized man. Hey Kimchi, what's going on? I don't know if I said hello Alarasia or not. Let's see. Trying to see. And then we're just going through the Pick Me Pearl version of the unraveling toxic masculinity shorts. The shorts that I've decided to go through, where for some reason, just as a reason, for the longest time I've been wanting to do this series on dealing with toxic masculinity, specifically trying to react to like men's rights advocates and men going their own way and like so-called alpha males and red pill people and all these other idiots. And like they all suck, and like for some other things just kept getting in the way, and like other topics kept on coming up, and finally for some reason YouTube's algorithms decided to be like, hey, we're gonna show Dan all these videos now for some stupid reason. And because YouTube decided to just show me all these videos for some stupid reason, YouTube was like, I decided to be like, okay, well, if YouTube is now going to start showing these to me, I'm going to start copying the URLs and I'm going to start reacting to them on the channel, and I'm going to make these playlists and I'm going to upload them, and then we're going to use these as content to try and draw more people into the channel while I'm fighting these toxic ideas. So here you have a woman who is upholding these toxic ideas, like men have to look a certain way in order to get laid or to get dates or what have you. So we have 3 more of these shorts, or there's at least 2 more of these shorts. I don't know if this next one, the last one, is a short or not. I might have put it in the wrong place, but we'll see. If the last one's not a short, we'll do a longer react on that one. Oh, that's weird. I don't know what just happened with that one. Let's see. Let's see. So let's try and reconnect. Oh, we have a caller. So, but hold on, because we had a caller, but we also lost our connection. Let's see. Can we hear me now? I lost the caller. I don't know if I need to connect back to Liberal Dan Radio, to the YouTube.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio.
Oh, wait, I hit one too soon. Good. I'm glad you can hear me. I don't know why I keep losing my internet connection randomly during the shows.
To start your show now.
It appears that the host has already dialed into this show. Only one host is allowed per show. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
What? All right. Continue. All right. So now let's connect again.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio.
Yeah, Laurasia. Pearl wants a toxic man of her very own. She'll marry one, have a kid, he'll divorce her.
To start your show now, press 1. To hear important...
I don't even know...
Since it appears you're calling back into a live show, we are reconnecting you now.
I don't even know if she'll get that far. Alright, we're back on. Hey, what's going on?
Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much.
This is Khalil, everybody. Just to let y'all know, this is Khalil. So,
yeah, I'm considering drawing. What's it called? You've seen the show Muppet Babies, right?
Yes, where little dreams come true. Yes.
Yeah, I was considering doing a drawing of the. Yep, drawing a train. The toy train that was in one of the episodes, and selling it.
Cool.
Because I was talking to my mom about giving me a hotel gift card, but she might give me a vacuum instead, and I might wait for a trip. But I'm just hoping that maybe I could sell that online. I don't know if I have to have Jim Henson's company's permission before I sell that or not. Because I'll probably just draw the toy train.
I think if you do it like a parody-ish type thing, I think maybe you get away with it. I know there are people who do like kind of mock-ups where they'll sell things at like their own little mock-ups of things at conventions, and they seem to get away with it just fine. So you're probably, if you do it smartly enough, you'll probably be able to do it right. I don't know exactly. I mean, Wes in the chat says Muppets are copyrighted, but I don't know exactly. I'm not a lawyer, and I didn't say the Holiday Inn Express last night, so I can't give you the best answer on that one. So,
yeah. And also, one of the things is, I'm going to Moms Demand Action on tomorrow night, and I'm going to talk to them about the guns to guardrail thing.
That's a good thing. I mean,
And
I really like it. I really like the plan.
Yeah.
So.
And stuff like that. And then making sure that they have a bunch of fire retardants and like fire hydrants and fire extinguishers when they destroy the guns, because they've okayed the gun buyback program in Charlottesville.
Yeah.
Hey, did you know that Kosovo they're destroying the Serbian army firearms and all that stuff left over?
No, I did not.
Yeah, they have the leftover military stuff that they're destroying, and also that's what I found the United Nations do when they destroy things. They blow them up. Sometimes, or they bulldoze them. The United Nations, but Charlottesville's going to be incinerating the guns.
Interesting. So it's a long time. It's a long time from the Serbia and Kosovo thing for them to actually do that. So took them long enough, I suppose.
Yep. I also was told that if a gun is constantly sparking, it's not going to work. Like, let's say you have I was told if you have a gun near the fire and the sparks come up from the fire, I was told the gun's no good after that. It warps the barrel and the clips.
I was not aware of that either.
Yeah. But that's what it does, because basically, like, I've been looking for that stuff. But also, I was telling you about the people who are wishy-washy on, who are deflect attention on guns. Like, I don't know if you know Larry Pratt. I really can't stand him. You know him?
I'm not sure. Let's see. I think you might.
He's with Gun Owners of America.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because he likes to double talk about victims of gun violence. I mean, he'll say that liberals are happy that massacres are happening. Then he's the same one that will want to ban liberals from guns.
Right.
He's one of those.
Well, you know.
And that's why.
As again, the host of the most Nimbus Yosh with the smooth sounds of Percy podcast says, hypocrisy is a conservative prerequisite. So.
Yeah, and the other problem is, like, I was making that point with someone and they didn't want to hear it. Not that they didn't want to hear it, they just took the parts that they wanted to hear.
Right.
Because basically, my point is, with the picture of a police officer, I don't want police officers militarized, but I don't want them to have very little things to defend themselves and defend us if the civilians are going to have whatever they want. It has to be an equal playing field. And I was talking to a man at the hospital about that, and then he said, well, if we ban guns, only the criminals will have guns. And I said to myself, I got to stop talking to this guy because he irritates me, because he's just, it's just like he acted like he didn't hear what I was saying. He acted like he heard, because like when you have people like Larry Pratt and Alex Jones, people like that need to be called out. Yep. And when people deflect attention like that, they're just allowing people like Larry Pratt, Alex Jones, and the NRA to keep getting away with not making up their minds. That's all it does, is it allows them to get away with it when people want to deflect.
Well, that's what I try and do here, but I need to be able to get more traction to be able to do a better job with it. So,
yeah.
Anything else you want to say before we move on? I know we got Wes on, and Wes, you need to behave if I go to you, Wes. So, just warning you. But anything else you want to throw out before we move on?
Both the right wing and the government needs to be more consistent on like age. We as conservatives, they don't want children to have transgender reform. But then they support things like allowing. They don't want the child labor laws to be legal, and they also are. This government also tries kids as adults and makes kids pay taxes for them working, even when they're in the home. So basically, I'm saying, and then they also allow kids to date older people. So if that's the case, there's no point. there's no point in allowing that. Like you said, conservatives are hypocrites when it comes to stuff.
Yep.
And then so is the federal government. It's like when they can't make up their mind if you're underage or if you're an adult.
Yep, I mean, that's right. And it was like one of the things I talked about in the podcast one of the previous weeks was how, they make a big stink about groomers and how so-called, trans folks are trying to be groomers, LGBTQA folks groomers, but who are the people trying to fight to keep child marriage legal? That's the Republican Party. Nobody else except the Republicans are trying to fight to keep child marriage legal. So there you go.
And labor too.
Yep.
But I appreciate talking with you. I'm gonna listen in on the show, but I'm gonna get off here, but I'm gonna still listen on the show.
Cool. All right. Let me know how the meeting for the Moms and Men Action go as well.
Thank you.
Cool. Have a good one. Bye.
Sure. Bye.
Wes, do you want to come on, or you just Liz? I mean, you said you were on the phone. You didn't raise your hand, but we'll go to you, Wes, in a second.
I'm here. I got nothing to say. I liked your last guest. I wish he would have stayed on.
Well, I mean, Khalil's good people. I like him, but want to get to you and I want to move on to the other stuff I want to do as well. So, but I like Khalil. Khalil's
big respect, Khalil. Isn't that like Superman's name?
It's Kal-El. It's Kal-El, but close enough.
Khalil
could be
Hudson Festival Incorporated.
good callback to Laverne and Shirley. Surely you jest.
Called it Istanbul, not Constantinople.
Why did Constantinople get the works?
Khalil.
You didn't answer
Jesus
right.
Christ, fucking man, what don't you know?
Anyway.
Okay, I'm fine. I love you. You know I do. Liberals are so insane. I love them too. But I am still a Republican.
Oh, Jesus.
Through and through.
Okay, Wes.
Okay. And I said a bunch of stuff about fucking earlier,
I know.
It's an invention in many ways because everybody doesn't do the same thing the same way. I have told you, I can't tell you, I'm not supposed to say this, right?
Well, if you're not supposed to say it, don't say it. If you're not supposed to say it, don't say it.
No, it is so important because there are so many
I'm gonna mute you, Wes.
Wes,
I'm gonna mute you.
But please let me try and say it in a nice way.
Against my better judgment, what?
Okay, there is something called a hydrocele.
Uh-huh.
Okay, it is something you're born with, and a lot of times it will correct itself. But you are born with them. It is kind of like you are half boy, and the boy is a dominant thing, but you are also half girl.
Like intersex?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and you're not supposed to say it because it really doesn't exist in the real world.
I'm very confused. I'm very confused. But
I know. Hydrocele. I think it is HYDROCELE. Kind of like hermaphrodite. Yes. Robin sort of knows the word, but, there is so much stuff that is very, very, very confusing and does not really represent the truth.
Okay.
Okay, I was born with this thing and other things. It is called spina bifida.
Mm-hmm.
There was something wrong with my spine. It wasn't sticking out exactly, but it was kind of like I had a tail or something that wanted to be a tail.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Related to spina bifida. And I have been drinking a little bit.
No.
But I can't tell the truth without having drinking. I can't tell any of this without something, letting it out. Because it's kind of secret.
Mm-hmm.
You can't tell all this shit. Anyway, I was like 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And it had not corrected itself naturally. And I was getting all sorts of stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I was getting blood and fluid in my legs and my ankles and my knees. I had, okay, this is the part you're gonna buzz me off on, and I'm gonna say it as delicately as I can. I had constantly a state of, oh gosh,
I mean, if you're
that?
using medical terms and not being, are you trying to say that you were in a constant state of arousal?
Okay. Right. You want to know the real name is called priapism.
Priapism, yes, priapism. Everybody who's seen
priapism.
Okay.
I was priapized.
Okay.
Until I was like 5 years old. No, not hermaphrodite. I got it when I was 5. They closed it off. They closed off the top, so they called it a vaginal, They called it a vaginal shoot. A vaginal tube. It was a vaginal tube shoot. That's what it was. I'm not lying. You hear this stuff, you start hearing it when you're 5 years old, and you have no idea what these people are talking about.
All right. Well, we learn something new every day, I guess. Robin wants to know if you
Yes,
teach
you
sex
do.
ed.
I don't. I taught music for 40 years, and I never said anything. Well, I never really did say anything about genitals.
Well, that's good. That's a good thing. It's usually a good thing if you're not teaching sex ed. It's a very good thing if you're not teaching sex ed to not mention genitals to your students. That's a very good thing. Hold on. There's another caller.
I agree.
There's another caller that I think is calling
God
in via.
bless them.
Wait. There's another caller that's calling in via Skype. If you do want to talk, just hit the one button. I don't know if you can hit the one button. I don't know if you can hit the one button on Skype, but if you do want to talk, I'll get to you in a second. So.
Are you cutting me off?
I'm not cutting you off for a second, but I'm just letting them know that I'll get to them in a second. But finish up.
Okay. I love to talk to other people. You're boring.
Okay. Well, maybe I should cut you off right now.
I like to argue.
Well, I'm trying to be nice and congenial and all that good stuff.
Nice.
Anyway, Wes, thank you for calling in. I love you just the same,
nice.
even
it's
though
stinky and smelly.
Even though you're even though you claim to be a
Robin
Republican.
wants me to write a song about my genitals. That is perfect, Robin. You have a perfect idea.
We'll have to sing. We'll have to come up with a We'll have to come with a Liberal Dan Radio parody about Wes's priapism. That'll be the assignment
A love song to my giant dick.
I don't want to. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Wes. Love you very much. Thank you for calling in.
I'm not leaving. If you have me on, I'll stay here.
Well, I'm gonna mute you, and I'm gonna go to the next caller.
Anybody. I don't know how what you got yet is. I can't see what it says.
All right.
Support H something.
All right. Putting you on mute.
All
I'm
right,
going to the next caller. Anyway, next caller. What's your name? Where are you from?
Hey, just listening, sir.
Oh, just listening. All right. Well, just wanted to check and see if you wanted to call in or not. Talk it, but thank you. If you can, if there is a way on Skype to, if you want to raise a question, let me know. But some of the stuff that I'm going to be doing, it does happen to be on YouTube, youtube.com/liberaldanradio, because I am doing some reactions to some videos, which the video audio does not go all the way through to Blog Talk Radio because I don't have the audio situation on my computer set up yet. So if when we go back to that, and you're only hearing half the audio, that's the best way to fix that, is to jump on over to youtube.com/liberaldanradio, because that's the best way to hear everything that's going on in the show and not just this side of the show. Just wanted to let you know. Anyway, but thank you for listening. I appreciate you just the same. So I was trying to look up and see what the heck Wes's what the treatment of that he was talking about, surgical maybe it's like surgical shunting. I don't know. Wes is going to have me going down a rabbit hole after the show to talk about how to treat priapism and how to create certain ways on how to treat priapism now. There's an interesting thread on Twitter, or X, or whatever you want to call it, where somebody talking about Louisiana's House District 91 vote. House District 91 had been the consciousness of Louisiana Democrats. It involved a factional fight between the incumbent progressive Democrat, Mandy Landry, and her, quote, moderate challenger, Madison O'Malley. Governor Edwards involved by supporting O'Malley. It shows a picture of the district. Why have I not mentioned Republicans? The district is minimal of affection for anything Republican. Biden won the district 85-13. Kennedy for Senate lost the district 15-84. John Bell Edwards won the district 91-9. Primary was held. Results were an unequivocal loss for non-progressive Democrats. Landry was elected 66-26. Looking at the data from the racial composition of each precinct, white precincts, Mandy Landry won 67-25. Black precincts, Mandy Landry won 57-30. Estimating turnout, won't have official data for 3 weeks. A 49-42% white-black district voter registration, showed by 25% white election day turnout and 14% black election day turnout. Or to use my favorite term, to use Louisiana English, the racial composition of the vote was about 61% to 32% white versus black. At my point, amidst all the wonky analysis, the Louisiana Democratic establishment attempted to take out a progressive Democrat incumbent, yet there wasn't a critical mass of voters in this part of New Orleans supporting this move. O'Malley carried one precinct, 10-13, which is what I talked about on Saturday. Yet for some reason, those posts gets lots of views and mine get none because I can't win for losing. Anyway, I don't know why my shit doesn't get retweeted and other stuff good does, but you know, hey, it is what it is. Sorry, that's Donald's line. Let me let Donald say it.
It is what it is.
Thank you, Donald. Back to the whatever at hand. So we are now going to go back to talking about whatchamacallit, Pick Me Pearl and her fun stuff, or not so fun stuff. We got two more shorts, maybe at least two more shorts, and one maybe slightly longer one. We'll see. So let's see. This video is Pearl debunks Destiny's wife, whoever Destiny is.
A virgin or somebody who's had sex with two guys and both of them you've been madly in love with, you don't even know a world outside of sex paired with love. There's a lot of safety and security that a man gets from that. Can you
I feel like
understand
I
that?
would be a lot more scared if I had a girlfriend that was a virgin and no experience. Like, let's say she goes to work and then she meets someone else and they have like a really good chemistry and a lot of sexual tension. I feel like just because she doesn't know what that is on the other side, she would be more interested in doing it than...
It's like saying I need to drink alcohol every day. I need to get super drunk for 100 days in a row to just prove that I don't want to be an alcoholic.
What a horrible analogy. So this woman was basically saying that if she was married to a woman, she would want to make sure that, I guess, the woman has at least sampled, I guess, the other side and had a couple of guys in her past sexual history in order to make sure that, you know, she's gotten out of her system or whatever. I don't know. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with that logic because, you know, if you're in a relationship with somebody, you should trust that that person would not violate the terms of your relationship. And if you don't trust that the person is not going to violate the terms of your relationship, you shouldn't be in a relationship with that person to begin with. That being said, obviously Pearl's analogy here is horrendously flawed because she's not saying that that she wants this person to now go have, you know, 100 men just to go make sure that she doesn't want to be with men. Like, it's she's not saying go become a sex addict, go become somebody who's gonna hop around from man to man to man to man to man to man. Not that there's anything wrong with that if you choose to do that, if everyone consents. I'm not judging you for that, but the person is saying, I would like to have somebody have a little bit of experience with somebody else before. Now, that being said, you know, I understand the concept of, I personally, you know, I don't think I would want to be, I don't think I would have been sexually compatible with somebody, you know, who would have been a virgin, because I don't think a person who was a virgin would have known what they would have liked or disliked, you know, when it came to their sexual appetites, and maybe it would have been fun to find that out together, but maybe not. I don't know. Maybe our desires would have been so diverse because that person might not have known what they would have liked and might not have been able to comprehend things that I liked, for example. So this idea, though, that, you know, what this person says and then she takes it to the absolute ridiculous extreme is exactly what conservatives do and clearly what Pearl does.
I need to take all the steps to become an alcoholic just to show I do not want to be an alcoholic.
So yeah, no, that is not what this person is saying at all. And more illogical points from Pick Me Pearl. So let's see. We got one more short coming up for Pick Me Pearl, and then we will go on to this, whatever this next one is. All right, so this next one is women versus entitlement, whatever that means. We will see what that means in a second.
And I really think, I was trying to think of a similar equivalent of a woman going to a club. And I was thinking maybe a man on a dating app, but even that isn't the same. Because again, you're putting a girl in a situation where men, like, you're basically saying, go to this club where 50 men are gonna try to sleep with you at the same time. Why do women feel entitled to acting the same way in a relationship as you do single? And it's interesting because we expect men to change when they're single. Like, I don't think most women want their guy going to a strip club. They don't want their guy, you know, going on boys trips. But we expect to be able to go to a club. Like, my question is, if this is a woman, you want to be a wife and a mother, why does she want to be in the club while dating you? And I really think...
Okay.
I was trying to...
There's a modicum of sense here, but for the wrong reasons. Like, if it's okay for somebody in a relationship to do one thing, it should be okay for the other person in a relationship to do the same thing. So if it's okay for, you know, the woman in a relationship to be able to go out to the club, it should be okay for the guy to be able to go out to the club. It's okay for a guy to do a guy's trip. It's okay for the girl to go to a girl's trip or whatever. Again, there should be no hypocrisy there. But there's this whole idea here that the toxicity comes into play here, that a woman shouldn't be able to go to the club because other guys might want to sleep with her. So, who cares if other men want to sleep with her? If I'm sitting at home while my wife is out with her friends and there are other dudes there who want to sleep with my wife, does that mean that my wife is going to sleep with them? Like, if you don't trust your partner to be able to go out with their friends and hang out with their friends and not cheat on you, you shouldn't be dating that person. Of course, these people don't want partners. We've discussed this before, especially with Myron from Fresh and Fit. They don't actually want partners. They want subservient people. They want to have a guy in charge with subservient sex slaves, a subservient sex slave who's going to be nothing to them but a hole for them to have sex with, and for nobody else to have sex with either. That's what they ultimately want, and that's what she's, I guess, defending as well. But again, if you are in a relationship with somebody, and look, I mean, you can come to an agreement that neither people are going to go to clubs or whatever for whatever reason. If that's what y'all are comfortable with, that's fine. If that's what y'all agree to and are happy with, fine, cool, whatever makes y'all happy. But the toxicity comes into play in that, again, if the reason you don't want your partner going out to the club is because you're afraid that other people are going to try and sleep with your partner, that means you don't trust your partner, because what other people want is irrelevant. What your partner does is the relevant thing. So you could have 100 people throwing themselves at your partner. If your partner doesn't violate the terms of your relationship, then it doesn't matter what those other people want. That's why these people are immature. That's why these people can't handle real, meaningful relationships. That's why these people are not people who should be talking about relationships at all whatsoever, because they don't understand what it's like to be in one, because they don't understand what having a relationship of equal partners that's based on trust and love and companionship means. They just understand these antiquated ideas where women equals property. That's how they're viewing relationships, from the old standpoint of woman equals property, therefore woman must do what man say. End of story. That's what they want, that's what they push, and that's why I put this under the unraveling toxic masculinity banner. I almost hit stop streaming instead of the other one. So, which is not a good idea. Robin Nell, if someone can go to clubs to sleep with anyone, let alone 50 men. And that's true too. I mean, again, but just because you go to the club, and just because, I mean, I'm sure, Robin, I mean, you might have 10, 50, 100 dudes, or maybe women, or other non-binary, gender non-conforming folks that might see Robin and they may go, damn. Doesn't matter. What matters is what you want. Do you want to enjoy yourselves with those people? Then, and do you act on it? Do you violate the term? Are you the one? Do you choose to violate the terms of your agreement relationship? That's all that matters. Doesn't matter what anybody else wants. That's why I talk about, like, with Myron from the Fresh and Fit podcast or whatever. These people, they call themselves alpha dudes or alpha males or whatever. They think themselves so high-minded, but they're so insecure they can't even handle the idea of their partner. And I want to call it partner, but it's not. They can't even handle the fact of the person that they're with going out and hanging out with a guy, because they think that the other guy is going to want to hook up with the person that they're with, and that the person that they're with is somehow going to give in. Well, bruh, you can't lock it down. You're not an alpha, are you, bruh? So, Wes is sitting there singing Queen in the chat. Nothing really matters to me. All right, so here's the last one in my video of Pick Me Pearl shorts, but it doesn't say short, so we'll see how long it is. That's what she said. And we'll determine whether or not we're going to respond to it or not. All right, so this video has an ad So, oh, this one's the one about, this one is about the one of, well, we're going to go full screen on this one. So let's go ahead and change things around. Oh, We're going to change things around for a second. Overland Venmo. Let's put that over here. Buy me a coffee. Let's put it over here. Make me a little bigger. Maybe let's make the Venmo a little smaller. And then we're probably going to restart. Because I did watch a little bit of this one, so we're going to go ahead and start from this one. Pearl showing lots of flesh in this one. All right, so this one is called Teenager Bullied for Leaked Photos of 304 Mother. 304 is the way that the toxic masculinity crowd calls women hoes, because I guess if you flip it upside down, it looks like HOE. So it's the way of calling people hoes without actually saying the word hoe or typing out the word hoe. So, yeah, that's how it goes with these toxic folks. And so I think, and this is only 4 minutes, so it's not that long, so we can definitely respond to it without taking up too much time. But we're definitely going to pause this from time to time as they make points, or as we go with the points that they make. But the short of it is, as I'm understanding it, is that you had a situation where I think a child got bullied because the child's mom did OnlyFans, I think, and the kids at the school found out about the child's mother doing OnlyFans and bullied the child about it. So let's listen to what Pearl shares with her pearls of wisdom, and we'll see what Pick Me Pearl has to say about this crap. Okay, so an OnlyFans mom, actually let's put this over here. OnlyFans mom's son killed himself after he was bullied for having pictures revealed of his mom doing OnlyFans by kids at the school. So as it should be, if you're an adult and you're doing OnlyFans, your kids probably shouldn't have any idea that you're doing these types of sites, and that's good. So far, the mom is doing the right, responsible thing for doing, doing adult business, not sharing that information with her kid.
The 13-year-old says he has no...
Well, we're going to have to start over again because I had unfortunately left it on mute. So we'll start over again. I'm sorry, folks. We'll have to start over again. So in this video, for unraveling toxic masculinity, we have another Pick Me Pearl video with a teenager being bullied for leaked mothers of 304 Mother. When they say 304 Mother, that's the other word of saying hoe, because you turn 304 around, I guess, and that makes it look like hoe, I guess. They're so creative. And so apparently this kid ended up committing suicide because of the bullying that took place. So we're going to take a look at what Pick Me Pearl had to say and go from there. So let's start the video.
So there's a story in the news today about an OnlyFans model's son killed himself. So OnlyFans star's son left suicidal after classmates taunt him with naked pictures of his mom. The 13-year-old said he had no idea his mom was on provocative social media sites. And that's a good thing. Again,
why would he know about that? She's doing the responsible thing by not allowing her son to know that she is doing adult work. And maybe sometime later, as he's older, he might find out, maybe, but it's none of his business. And if she's keeping that from him, good. That's fine. And he doesn't know. He doesn't need to know. Perfectly fine. There's no reason for him to know. Let's continue.
Suffered panic attacks when youngsters from his school began mocking him. A teenager said he had been left depressed and suicidal after his classmates flaunted naked pictures of his mom from her OnlyFans account. The 13-year-old says he has no idea his mother was on the provocative social media site and suffered a panic attack when youngsters from his school began mocking him and shared naked pictures of his mom.
Can I just say something like, is it weird that she has to read with the pencil like that on there? Like not just necessarily saying that it's, I mean, maybe she has some sort of learning disability or something that requires her to follow along like that, but like, I mean, do you have to read along on a piece of paper? Can you not read it like on a screen, like in front of you? Like normally when I'm reading something like an article that's in front of me, I put it in front of me so it looks like I'm looking at the camera. I mean, yes, sometimes I'll watch the video as I'm looking down, but it's kind of distracting with her kind of reading along with the pencil. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to mock her if she has any sort of learning disability that requires her to do this, but it just seems kind of weird to me that she's doing it this way. I don't know. Especially because she has the thing on the big screen right next to her. So it just seems kind of weird to me, but that's kind of a side point. Let's continue.
He said he confronted his mother about the OnlyFans account and was told he was overreacting, with his mom insisting that sex work is basically the same as working in a supermarket.
I mean, sex work is work, and if you're going to teach your child to be a good person, you should, if he does eventually find out that it should, I mean, I don't necessarily think it's the same thing as working in a supermarket because, you know, you're doing something completely different with the cucumbers. But other than that, it's work, and it should be considered a legitimate form of work, and she's not hurting anybody, and she's consenting to it, so nobody should have a problem with it.
Posting to Reddit, the unnamed teenager said, "I'm 13 and my mom is 33. Things at school were never great. I'm sort of short, so I get picked on a bit, but it was manageable. That was until one of my classmates showed me a picture of my mom naked. I almost had a panic attack and had to be excused from the classroom. I ended up not showing up to school for a few days, faking sick. I was hoping that things would cool off, but they didn't. As soon as I got to school, almost everyone in class was staring and laughing at me. This has been going on for about a week now."
And what did the school do about this bullying? That's the thing I want to know. What did the school do about these children having pictures of a naked woman on their phone? What did the school do about them sharing pictures of naked women with other students on their phones? What did the school do about bullying, harassment in the school for over a week? Like, the problem here is not that the parent was doing OnlyFans. The problem here is that you have other children who were not raised correctly, other children who are looking at porn sites, other children when they shouldn't be looking at porn sites, other children who are sharing naked pictures on school grounds who are clearly in violation of school codes, I'm sure, and state law, I'm sure, and other children who are bullying on campus, which should be also a violation of various laws and or school rules. So we're blaming the mom here instead of blaming the kids for doing the bullying. And it seems like the kids were doing bullying before this happened, and then the kids just happened to strike gold in finding that the kid that they were already bullying happened to be doing, I guess, OnlyFans or whatever, and now they got to pile on with the bullying with this too. But the school should have been stepping in long before to stop the bullying and to punish the bullies.
The teenager says the bullying is gradually getting worse and worse, and now lots of students have nude images of his mom they are sharing online, and his mother shared a link to her OnlyFans on her personal Twitter page. He continued, "I was wondering how my classmates even got the picture, and apparently my mom..."
Well, see, the problem here is that why are these kids, again, why are they, if they're sharing nude pictures on their phones, isn't that a violation of laws? If these children are having nude pictures on their phones, I mean, isn't that illegal? Why aren't they being punished for doing things that are illegal for them to do?
Mom advertises her OnlyFans on her personal Twitter account. Some students from my school follow her, so they were able to see the nudes, and they have been spread everywhere. I don't even have a Twitter, so I didn't know about any of this. The worst part was when I confronted my mom about this. She told me I was overreacting and that sex work is basically the same as working at a bank or a grocery store.
Hold on. Was just interrupted by my son, who needed to, get his get something from the room, and he was not dressed, and therefore I had to eliminate my picture, and I had to mute myself so I could, fuss at him, so that I could. Now I have to edit this whole thing out, and we'll continue from this point. So. Let's go continue. Let's continue talking, hearing about what Pick Me Pearl has to say about this.
She said it also makes her feel.
Let's rewind a bit.
She told me I was overreacting and that sex work is basically the same as working at a bank or a grocery store. She said it also makes her feel good about herself, that I should be happy she's more confident now.
I mean, if it makes her feel good about herself, fine. But I mean, it's understandable that a kid might be embarrassed learning that his parent is doing this kind of work. I mean, yeah, I get that, but the problem here is not with her. The problem here is with the bullies. This is my disconnect here, is the bullies. The bullies are the ones that need to be punished. The bullies are the problem here.
I told the principal, but they can't suspend thousands of students or take anyone's phones. I've been crying in my room every day.
And somebody says the kid's mom should have made her account secret. And maybe, yeah, like if I was gonna have adult content and share pictures of my naked self online, I would not link it to my Liberal Dan Radio account, clearly. I mean, okay. Fine. So maybe she made a bad decision as to how she shared her images or whatever, and maybe she should have had a different Twitter account, because you could have multiple ones. Like I have one for Budgeteers, I have one for Rideshare Dan, I have one for Nerdy Dan, I have one for Liberal Dan, I have one for my personal where I don't really use it much even, but it's just my personal one that's not Liberal Dan, it's just LJ4A.com Dan, which again is a terrible name, afterthought, but whatever. But you can have multiple Twitter accounts. So maybe she made hindsight being hindsight, she made a bad choice about what Twitter account she used to promote her spicy sites. But that doesn't mean, again, that she's the one to blame here. She's not the one that bullied her kid. Let's continue.
For the past week, I don't think I can take it anymore. We see wrongful death suits all the time for institutions that push people into suicide, schools, even ex-lovers, girlfriends, boyfriends. But why is there no accountability on mothers that push their sons into suicide?
It's not the mother pushing the son to suicide, it's the bullies. The bullies are the one pushing the kid to suicide. The bullies are the one that chose to expose the kid to the mom's activities. The bullies are the one that decided to continuously harass the kid about the mom's activities. The bullies did this. Not the mom. The bullies are the ones that created that atmosphere that drove the kid to do this. Not the mom.
For their own poor decisions. And it's so funny because the mom...
It's so funny. Yeah, it's not funny at all, Pearl. This is not a funny situation. This is a horrible situation. This is a terrible situation. This woman lost her kid because bullies felt that it was funny to make, or to continue making fun of this kid, to pile on to this kid that they've already been bullying because they happen to find spicy pictures of her online.
Moms are so incredibly selfish. They are so selfish where they just think of themselves and they don't think about the kids at all. And, you know,
maybe she was thinking about the kid and trying to give the kid a better life because we live in a society that makes it difficult for women to succeed because we have these unreasonable standards of what women have to do to be able to succeed in comparison to men. Maybe she was trying to make it so that she could use whatever assets she had to make sure that she could give her child a better life, and maybe she was trying to make enough money, maybe to move her son to a private school to get her away from the bullying in the first place. Maybe she saw the child getting bullied. Maybe she saw the pain and suffering that the child was already having to deal with by dealing with these a-hole kids that he had to go to school with, and was like, well, maybe if I went ahead and did this, I could maybe move my kid to a different district, to a better district where my kid could get a better schooling with better kids. Maybe I could get my kid into a private school. Maybe I could have some other options for my child. But no, Pick Me Pearl doesn't think about that crap. She just wants to blame the mom, who's already down because the mom lost a kid.
Oftentimes what I'll hear is that this is just a fringe case. But when you have more OnlyFans workers than teachers now, this is becoming a real problem.
Okay, just because you have more OnlyFans models than teachers doesn't mean that this isn't a fringe case. And just because you have more OnlyFans models than teachers, it doesn't mean that it makes the bullying okay. And you're ignoring the bullying. You're completely ignoring them. Pick Me Pearl is probably somebody who believes that bullying is a rite of passage. I mean, Pick Me Pearl's a bully herself because she's the one who, again, in the other video that I was looking at, was mocking that guy for being fat and for living in mom's basement because maybe this guy is socially inept and has problems finding a date. Meanwhile, that guy is probably one of the ones that she probably wants to get to subscribe to her channel because she probably loves the incels. That's probably somebody who's going to ultimately be someone who subscribes to her channel.
Society. And what a lot of these women say is that, oh, you know, once they're old enough, they'll understand. I think this is so selfish. It is so wrong.
Why? Why do you think it's so selfish and so wrong? Because you're a puritanical person who doesn't understand that people can have sex for pleasure. You don't understand that people can, you know, have sex for more than just procreation, that women can actually have, you know, lives outside of being pregnancy machines for their spouses, as you believe that they should be, because you subscribe to archaic gender roles for women in society. I mean, this is a woman who walks around wearing a repeal the 19th Amendment shirt because she wants to take away the right of women to vote.
I actually think it's terrible that we live in a society that wants to make this socially acceptable. The most important thing in a society is the children.
Right, and the most important thing in a society is the children, so we should be stepping up and stopping the children from bullying other children. We should be looking at the parents of the bullies and asking them why they failed in their parental responsibilities. Why did they fail in making sure to not teach their kids to not bully other kids? Why did they fail in making sure their kids didn't know to not go look at nudie websites as a young teen? Like, where's their responsibility in all this? If their parents did their job, their kids wouldn't be looking at naked pictures online of adults and going to OnlyFans or looking at naked adult Twitter. And then if they did their job, their kids wouldn't be bullying. They would be treating their peers with respect and dignity and not be treating their other peers horribly. But no, Pick Me Pearl wants to support the bullies.
Children are innocent. They had nothing to do with the world's problems. Yet,
no, the children that were bullying him were not innocent. Not at all.
We want to keep forcing our problems onto the children.
The children who bullied this kid were the ones with problems.
Yeah, so I think this is unacceptable. And I think that we really need to, I think we should ban OnlyFans. I think we should
ban OnlyFans. I'm a conservative, and I think we should ban everything that I don't like, but I'll argue for the free market for everything else. But I think we should ban everything I don't like. Stupid. If people consent to an activity, there should be no problem with them doing the activity. If everybody consents, no problem with it. These people don't like that women have been able to leverage OnlyFans to be able to take money out of the economy and put it into their own pockets. They don't like the fact that women have been able to take men's money, and maybe some women too, and been able to have figured out how to use the desires that men have and be able to use it to get a lifestyle where they can make $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 a month sometimes, and therefore not need a dude to rely on, therefore uprooting their desires of having women be subservient to men, because that's what they want. They want women to be subservient to men, and as such, women who are able to do OnlyFans no longer need to be subservient to men because they can have their own money. And they could do OnlyFans for maybe a few years and probably be financially independent for the rest of their lives, just from doing OnlyFans. And there are some people probably who do OnlyFans who might only do OnlyFans with like a partner. Like here's my OnlyFans. Here's me doing OnlyFans with a partner, and here's my scenarios, this, that, the other, whatever, and there you go. But I'm using my own. I feel like I can use my own body to be able to make a buck, and then at the end of the day, I can have my own money and not have to rely on anything else. I don't have to rely on anybody else. Good for them. Pearl doesn't like that. Pearl probably is mad that she can't make money on OnlyFans.
I think the U.S. should ban OnlyFans because...
Oh, not just the U.S. So no, everyone else is fine, but the U.S. should ban OnlyFans?
And this is another reason why men should have the children. Because at least when men are sleeping around or, being a dog, whatever, they're wise enough to keep it away from the children.
Are you kidding me? So men are, that is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That men who sleep around keep it away from I'm sure that there are plenty of men who sleep around who don't keep it away from the children, and plenty of kids know that the men are sleeping around. Trust me, they know. They know. Anyway, what do you think? Agree, disagree? Leave your comments below, like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you very much. Have a good night. And again, that's not me ending the overall live stream. That's just me ending that video. Pick Me Pearl is one hell of a idiot, that's for sure. Let's go back through some of these comments now that I have time to address them. Let's exit this and unmute or mute it, so if we happen to play some more videos we don't have to hear it. We have a whole hour. Supposedly we have a whole hour left. I don't know. It looks like my Blog Talk Radio stream is kind of frozen. I don't know what's going on with Blog Talk Radio. Let's refresh the screen, and it looked frozen to me. I don't know. There we go. Only 25 minutes left. Let's see. Flip that back on. Scrolling back. Let's see what else. Benny goes, gotta pay the bills, hoeing it out, can't flip a burger. I mean, if you can, flipping a burger only pays $15 an hour, sometimes less than that. OnlyFans pays much more than that if you got it. So I could see there's the appeal. And again, if somebody wants to make more money with that and has the ability to do it, then why not? I mean, again, if everyone consents, why not? I mean, Benny, local schools do nothing about bullying, not a damn thing. I know that for sure. When I was bullied in 4th grade, I stood up to my bully, who happened to be a girl, and I got punished for it because the girl that bullied me was a doctor's child, and I was not. So therefore, I'm the one who got my seat moved. I'm the one who got in trouble for it. Boys don't hit girls. Which I came home with scratches on my arms every day because she kept on scratching me for nothing. When I decided to one day, I didn't even hit her. I pushed her and told her no, and she happened to get hit into the door, and the door slammed shut, and that scared her, I think. And then the school was like, and then I came home and I told my mom that I pushed her into the door, and the door slammed shut. And the teacher calls like, "Do you know what happened today at school?" And my mom was like, "Yeah, Dan got tired of being bullied, so he pushed Allison, whatever." "He told you?" "Well, yes, because I told him to, because I gave him permission to stand up for himself." "Well, boys don't hit girls." And it was like, "Well, girls shouldn't hit boys either." And they moved my seat. Bullying stopped, but the bullying stopped only because I did something about it. So yeah. If you don't have kids, go grind whatever you do, make a cheap buck. But if you have kids, make better choices. I disagree. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do adult things as an adult, and it doesn't matter. Kids shouldn't be bullying. That's it. Kids should not be bullying. And again, while Jamie, you're right, the kid's mom should have done a better job of making it a secret and keeping it more hidden than she did. That being said, don't blame the bullying on mom, blame the bullying on the bullies. I have a hard time blaming mom who just lost her kid simply because the bullies bullied. The bullies need to stop bullying, and the schools need to step up and stop the bullying. And while the schools, Wes, may have too many responsibilities, one of the responsibilities that schools should have is to stand up to bullying and to stop bullying when it happens. Robin, she's revealing way too much flesh to be puritanical. But again, as the host with the most Nimbus Yosh with the smooth sounds of the Percy podcast says, hypocrisy is a conservative prerequisite. Let's see, Jamie, last weekend shopping and saw 2 kids in a stroller while the mom and 2 other women shopped. The kids were 3 and 3.5. They were both watching cartoons on a phone. Well, I mean, a lot of the times when we would be at dinner, like we would go to dinner and we'd, let the kids hold one of our phones so they could watch cartoons so we could eat in peace. I mean, that happens. So, yes, I broke it. In my classroom, we have a huge touchscreen. The kids are always trying to get it to turn and switching on the chosen file plan because they know how to navigate electronics too well. Yeah, my kid, before my son could speak, he could operate my wife's iPhone better than she could. Benny, and that's fine, Benny. If doing sex work is not for you, that's fine. Doing sex work is definitely not for a lot of people, but if people choose to do it, I think it should be a valid occupation for those who choose to do so, and I don't think people should be shamed for doing it. I think there There are people who enjoy watching porn. There are people who enjoy doing porn, and as long as everybody consents, there should be no shame in doing it. I don't think it's selling one's soul. I think it's fulfilling a need, fulfilling a desire that people have, and as long as people aren't being exploited, and I think OnlyFans is probably the best way to do it, because otherwise there are situations. There have been situations in the past where people who did porn were getting exploited, and it was bad. But in OnlyFans, you get to be your own boss. You're not told what to do. You get to do what you want to do for yourself. If you want to do a particular thing, you get to do it. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to do it. And there you go. So I'm just disappointed not enough people laughed at my cucumber comment. That's what upset me. Not enough people laughed at my cucumber comment. At least not audibly here that I could see. Although I do for some reason I have it on top chat instead of live chat, so maybe I missed some of it after I had to refresh. So so maybe I did miss something. Sex is not supposed to be work. Well, I mean, it's supposed to be fun, but that's the problem. That's one of the other problems too, is that the people like Pearl and whatever don't think women are supposed to have fun with sex. They think sex is supposed to be for procreation, it's supposed to be for creating kids and nothing else. And how dare a woman enjoy sex? Oh no. That's why these alpha dudes don't want to marry people who aren't virgins, because they don't want women knowing that they can enjoy themselves too. They don't want women knowing that they can enjoy it, and they don't have to settle for a 2-pump chump. That they don't have to settle for 3 seconds of missionary with no foreplay. That they don't have to settle for, just mediocrity. That they could actually enjoy themselves and have a good time and have a partner who not only, is enjoying themselves, but wants to make sure that they enjoy themselves, that the woman enjoys themselves as well. So that's why they want virgins, in my opinion, because if these so-called alphas, dated somebody who had experience sexually, they'd actually have to put more work in. They'd actually have to do things to satisfy the people that they're with above and beyond, a couple of, thrusts here and there. They would have to, actually reciprocate oral sex. They'd have to do other things that, their partner might expect them to. So that's why these people want virginal women, virginal 18-year-olds. And that's why you have people who lie about their body counts, because they don't want to be judged by these asshats. They don't want to be judged by these people. They want to be seen as being, they want to be seen as having, quote, high value. So they will lie about their body count. Body count should be irrelevant, because it shouldn't make a difference if you sleep with, one guy 5 times or 5 guys 1 time. But if you slept with 5 different guys, or 10, maybe you might have had somebody that has, might be more well endowed than you, or might be more adept at certain things than you, or maybe did a certain thing that she liked, and now you refuse to do that thing, and now what? Now she's going to judge you for not doing that thing she likes. And if you're not willing to put in the work to get to get her satisfied, then maybe that's why they're afraid that she's going to go off and sleep with other people, because those alpha dudes are unwilling to do whatever it is that the other people would like. So Benny Loca, the funny thing is women can sex all by themselves or with other women and exclude men altogether. Most probably, other thing is that if those dudes found out that the women were sexing all by themselves, they would have a fit, because they wouldn't want them doing that either, probably. So anyway, That's it's always my rant on them. I did see your laugh, Marie. I did notice your laugh at the cucumber joke. You were the only one, though, that audibly or visibly or visually laughed at the cucumber joke. I did notice yours, so I appreciate you, Marie. So thank you for that. I did notice yours, but I didn't notice many other. I was disappointed at the lack of other people doing so. So I thought it was a good on the fly, because I didn't. While I had seen parts of that video, I hadn't watched the whole thing, and I didn't have that joke planned. That was just off the cuff. So I was hoping I would get more reaction. Thank you, Robin. Well, I feel like I'm Howard Stern now. Thank you, Robin. Anyway, so it's almost about time to end the show. So let's I guess we'll go ahead and do that. Again, special announcement, just to reiterate, this week. The Saints are playing on Thursday, so instead of doing my normal Nerdy Dan stream on Thursday, most of you don't show up for that anyway, but instead of doing my Nerdy Dan stream on Thursday, I'll be doing it tomorrow. So if you want to join me while I game and whilst I talk about things, and tomorrow it might be a fun time to actually join me on the Nerdy Dan stream, because Benny, look, ask me if I care about what my husband knows what I'm doing. He knows I ain't hooking. Well, good. Again, your husband trusts you. And again, your husband should know and trust you to go do whatever it is that you're going to do, and knows that you're not going to violate the terms of your agreement. So, I knew. What if you want to join me on Nerdy Dan tomorrow, it might be a good thing to join me on Nerdy Dan tomorrow, because one of the things I'll probably be doing on Nerdy Dan tomorrow while playing my games is I'm probably going to have the vote totals going if they go ahead and decide to go and do the Jim Jordan vote on Speaker of the House. So while I'm playing games, I'll probably be making fun of Jim Jordan too. So only if I eat a lot of fiber, Wes, and then I lose all the shit. So anyway, so Tuesday nerdydan.com on Twitch, Wednesday show again, and then Thursday I'll be watching the Saints game. So I know, Wes, I put you on hold, but I didn't say I was going to come back to you. I didn't say I was going to get back to you. I just put you on hold. I said thank you for your call. I told you I loved you, and there you go. But I need to go. I haven't eaten dinner yet tonight, so I'm getting hungry, so I need to go. So anyway, this is the end of the Monday episode of Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right. Again, I will be on Tuesday night, tomorrow night, on nerdydan.com over on Twitch, playing games, and also potentially talking about the Jim Jordan confirmation vote, or whatever, if the House of Representatives actually does that. So if you want to talk some politics while I game, join me tomorrow on Twitch. Otherwise, be back here Wednesday, 8 p.m. Central. I might be on Twitch early at 7 p.m. I've been starting the stream a little early recently, so I might be on 7 p.m. on Twitch instead of 8 p.m. But just follow me on Twitch if you haven't already done so, twitch.tv/nerdydan.com. Also remember to follow twitch.tv/liberaldanradio to make sure that we can get those numbers up. So once I hit 1,000 here and get monetized, I will be dual streaming that as well. Till tomorrow and Wednesday, this is Liberal Dan Radio. Talk from the left, that's right.